Vice President representing some of the African countries, that, you know, there's a role that is very open to be played by some of the... so, engineer, I'm waiting for your camera up so that at least we could start when you're ready.
Hello, everybody. This is Tarek Ibrahim.
Tarek, that's okay. Now we can see you.
Excellent.
Great. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. So the traditional issues that come to mind when we talk about distributed, centralized, decentralized financial services are the issues related definitely to the infrastructure, the availability and reliability of the infrastructure, and the acquainted cybersecurity related issues. But one of the major issues when it comes to this kind of technology, its ability to transcend and cross borders. These kinds of systems and models can easily transcend borders. So it's very important to also look at the aspect of how these underlying technologies can impact financial services as they are being offered across borders. At a very high level, these are the key concerns and challenges that we look at in the Financial Regulatory Authority. Just to give you a quick brief background, the Financial Regulatory Authority in Egypt is the regulator for the non-banking financial services sector in the Egyptian markets. Between us and the Central Bank of Egypt, who overlooks the banking financial services, there's a lot of coordination and cooperation in this perspective.
Thank you so much. I think you've spoken about a bit of availability of infrastructure and the fact that this is one that can easily have cross-border influence and all that. And that's a good perspective. And I think you're speaking very well with the knowledge that you have as well. And you know, if I correctly got you, you're speaking from Egypt, right? Absolutely.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I think that helps us at least to see the landscape that we are covering here in Africa. And at this moment, I want to also invite some of the panelists that we're going to have this discussion on. I want to request that if you're there, just enable your camera, and I will ask you to just introduce yourself very quickly and where you're speaking from. I have Honorable Mohamed Soare. If you're there, please kindly check in. Honorable Anthony Bendula, Sela Bogonko, Alexia Hefti, Chimenzi Chuta, and physically that will be joining us will be Hanu Fejiro, who is still held up a little bit, but coming in. So if you're there, if I named you, please kindly enable your camera so that at least we can have this discussion together and you know, discuss it up. And I want to request that once you're in, just let us know who you are and where you're representing us from, and your quick reaction as well about, you know, government and digital financial technology as a driver of economic growth. What will be your take? So kindly. Please go ahead. I can see. Is that Sela or who is that? Please enable your microphone so that at least we can go ahead.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Alexia Hefti. I'm the chairman of the ABED Group. We're an incubator accelerator based out of Barbados. And we incubate and accelerate blockchain companies specifically focused on RegTech. So I work primarily with governments and regulators, and I'm actually based out of Abu Dhabi right now. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all today.
Thank you so much, Alexia, and it's good to hear that. I would like to hear your quick reaction as well on what's your take when it comes to matters government and digital finance technology as a driver of economic growth. What has been your key observations from this?
Well, that's an excellent question. So what I've started to realize, and I work again primarily with emerging market governments, is that they are absolutely the catalysts right now in driving a lot of growth. And I say catalyst, of course, quite frankly, the community, as we know, the blockchain community is the true catalyst. But on the government side, we've really seen so much growth, excitement, and actually a lot of energy going towards creating and improving digital technologies. So specifically, you know, I'm currently working with one government on their decentralized autonomous organization framework. They've realized that this can bring immense growth to their nation, specifically within the context of the figures we have before us, that currently there are approximately 10,000 DAOs in operation globally, and there are plans to be approximately 1 million by the end of the year. So when you see governments taking that, seeing the figures and saying, let's build a framework so that our people can have economic opportunities, youth can have opportunities as well, to me that demonstrates a lot of growth. That's not equal across the world, of course, but the governments that I've been working with have been showing immense promise.
So in a quick sentence, what's the situation in Barbados, please?
So Barbados is really fantastic. We have Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley, who is just re-voted in landslide victory, all seats won. She is pretty incredible. On her agenda for the next couple of years is fintech growth, amongst many other things. So in addition to looking at regulatory frameworks for crypto assets, which a lot of nations, of course, are doing, she's been really innovative as well in proposing a new digital bank for her nation to allow the nation to have access to the same global financial opportunities that other nations have and that aren't necessarily provided across the board in the Caribbean.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Now, in the house, as well as I said, Hanu Fejiro is here. And please, I want to ask him to kindly come forward. Please, this seat is for you. At least we thank you so much for making it all the way here. And, you know, a round of applause to him as well. Thank you so much for coming. And last year we had amazing conversations with Fejiro, and it's interesting how things have been. I don't know how within that 1 year things have been happening. I don't know how his experience has been. But, you know, Hanu, we're talking about government and financial technology in Africa. And, you know, one of the key things, as you've heard from Barbados and what Alexia was talking about, is that they're seeing good tidings happening in their government and all that. But I want to ask you the question as well. What has been your observation? I don't know what's happening in Nigeria, and I think it's good to tell them that. I think let's start from this. Just introduce yourself and, you know, what you represent for the sake of the online viewers who could be just having to see you for the first time today. And then you will tell us what's the situation like with government there.
Wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
My name is Hanu. I'm the founder and CEO of Patricia. Patricia, we're a crypto exchange. We allow you buy, sell, store, and spend crypto. We're on a mission to make crypto easy for everybody, Africans first and for the rest of the world. Over the last 1 year, the climate of crypto, especially around the government, has not been the most favorable one, especially in Africa, especially in Nigeria, I must say. There's been lots of chatter around regulation, around this news or that news over there, but nothing really concrete. So I'd say we're in the exact same place we were in 2021.
Yeah.
You know, but like my friend over there just said, governments are the catalyst to the adoption. They are the catalyst to growth. Yeah. Right? You see India just legalizing crypto of sorts, you know, with the 3% tax on all crypto returns. Yeah. You know, that would be the entry point for lots of innovation. People now believe that it's possible. I can try, I can build, and I know that this is what it is for me. Yeah. And you see lots of innovations coming around it. So the governments are the #1 catalyst to adoption and growth in Africa.
Wow. And you know, this question that I'm about to ask you definitely has a dark answer already. It's like a definite one because you're experiencing it. You're helping people out. People can now purchase and exchange goods and services with crypto. So, in your opinion, now let's look at across Africa because I know you are. The last time we talked here, you told me that you're looking at advancing, across the borders. How's your experience, and would you say governments now in general are beginning to have a listening ear, or is it still difficult?
Well, for the most part of it, it's a 50-50 blend, right? It's still difficult, but now more than ever, they are more open to having these conversations.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it comes down to when, not if anymore.
Okay.
It comes down to when they begin to make these laws, they begin to pass these policies, and it goes past the phase of just conversations, which is what it is now. Okay. And then that's what we are very optimistic, and that's what we're looking forward to, because that will be the real game changer for everybody in the space.
All right, that's fair enough. Alexia, let me come back to you, and my quick question to you would be the challenges that you've seen to decentralized finance adoption and growth. I don't know, from where you see it, what are some of these challenges that you've seen yourself?
I mean, that's a great question. One of the issues, I think, the challenges that we're going to face in Africa specifically is still internet. And that's just a big reality, right? As much as internet connectivity is fantastic in Kenya and Libya and Nigeria, you still have 19 countries in Africa that are still under 20% access. So that's just a reality of decentralized finance and its limitations. In addition, we need protocols to facilitate microfinance transactions. I mean, if you utilize these on a regular basis, very well that gas fees are just too high. And so the reality is that, as much as you can have increased liquidity in that, we can now have peer-to-peer liquidity for decentralized finance, it's going to be a challenge when you'd like it, to be utilizing these platforms for $1 or less a transaction. So I think those are probably the big limitations today that we'll face in Africa.
All right, let me come back to you, Fejiro. I mean, you have seen it all, I'm sure, in your pursuits of advancing the use of cryptos in, trading, especially on the Bitcoin and all. You have seen yourself a fair share of challenges, definitely. I don't know if you can list one or two or three, and it's important that you tell us because that's the African feel of it.
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges that we face is regulation, of course.
Yeah.
That saw a lot of businesses literally go out of business last year. That's one. The next problem there is education.
Yeah.
Most people have heard about Bitcoin, but they don't feel it's even a tool or something they can begin to jump into. They see it as this, high up concept that we cannot even get into. And that's one of the problems we're trying to solve in Patricia by educating people and making them understand that this is for us. Crypto has the most use case in Africa. Yeah. And this is the message that we try to pass across to people every other time. One of the other problems that we face is in terms of actually building these products. Talent. Talent has been and will continue to be a big problem.
Yeah.
You want to build world-class infrastructure, right? But the talents around are not capable of doing that. So you go to seek international talent.
Yeah.
And it's a very big problem.
You're right. At least a lot of it is information, as you said. I don't know. In the house here, I'll be opening up the session for people in the house and even the ones online. You can type in your question if you're watching, and even the people here, right here. We have Fejiro right here, and we also have Alexia. I don't know whether there's anyone else who's joined us online. If there's one, at least you can let us know. Please just open up your camera so at least we can know who has joined us in. I was expecting Honorable Anthony or Sela or Chimezi as well. I can see at least I have Tarek who opened up the session by telling us their situation as well in Egypt. I don't know what's your take as well, Tarek. What's the challenges that you've seen in adoption and growth, and what's the status in Egypt?
Thank you. Well, in Egypt at this point in time, we've been following and monitoring the cryptocurrencies and the use of distributed technologies to offer the alternative for financial transaction processing. And this is something that has not been regulated or sanctioned or allowed in the Egyptian economy at this point in time. Yet we do recognize the fact that there are a lot of spots and geographical regions where this is something that they've adopted. At this point in time, the official stance is that the Bitcoins and the digital currencies in general are not allowed at this point in time. This doesn't mean that some of the Egyptians may not participate in that. There are other, because of the internet and the ubiquity of the internet, there are a lot of people who take the risk and participate in these infrastructures and services and trading and so on and so forth from an investment perspective. We actually look at it more to enable the financial inclusion as opposed to an investment opportunity to capitalize on. So this is going to take some time from our perspective to get the market to understand the risks, acquainted with the arbitration nature of these kinds of currencies and services, and at the same time, the value it may bring in to make it easy to distributed for the distributed nature of availing the finances needed to support the growth of the economy.
Thanks a lot for that. But
You make a good point. Could I say something?
yeah, please say. Go ahead, Alexei.
Tarek, you make a good point about participation, and that's an additional challenge that we see is a reality. The off-ramp and the on-ramps for crypto are incredibly challenging in Africa. And I think that you may know, Fejiro, you may know, in Nigeria, you have the e-Naira that was developed as a central bank digital currency. And that actually was developed by our founder, the technology by Gabriel Abed, our founder of the Abed Group. And we rolled out the e-Naira in Nigeria. I think that is a way that will, once it's at the retail level and functioning within the economy, you'll have a much better on and off ramp to crypto in general and DeFi platforms. Because at this moment in time, it's still incredibly challenging.
Wow, interesting that we would hear this. I would have wanted to also hear what Tarek would have said about, because this is happening, you've said your citizens are sort of participating, the government hasn't said much. I think it's only, I have seen a lot of hammering from China. China, I think, wakes up and then once in a while has hit very hard the crypto markets and all that. And but I'm seeing a listening ear. I think I've just heard from Alexei talk about the e-Naira. That's quite good developments. And even here in the country, Central Bank of Kenya just said, you know what, I think they're starting something. I think there's an invitation for opinions as well on that. So I don't know why the hesitancy. I don't know why we just can't really delve in. And I know we had, and I can see him in the house, we had Dr. Pear speaking about the situation in Namibia and his minister right there. And I don't know whether we are being so cautious, and yet, let me use your example, Patricia is already doing transactions, and we can see this is happening, and we're talking about the future of finance being in the digital side of it. What would be your word, because governments are watching, what would be your word to the advisors of government, the people in the central banks, what would be your word to them? And let me start with you since you're here physically. Given a chance, you are sitting with them and they're listening.
Well, I think it's still the same answer I have to this question every time.
Go ahead.
And it's a fundamental question as to who we are and who we want to be. Mm-hmm. When you think of the world today, you think of China, right? what comes to mind is production, mass production. They can do anything you want them to make. They can create whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You think of Germany, they are known for making super solid supercars. They are known for a lot of things. Switzerland, finance. London, UK, finance. When you think of Africa, right, what exactly comes to mind? You know, and that right there is the tipping point for me.
Yeah.
You know, blockchain and cryptocurrency and all it stands for is not bounded by geography. As long as you have a smartphone and internet, you can participate.
Absolutely.
You know, and that right there can be the tipping point. You see, Africans, we have done the most around cryptocurrency with little or no support from the government or institutions, as the case may be, right? So imagine if we have the support, right? We have grants, we have institutions, we have real, actual technological support from the government, right? If you look at the chart today, top 10 countries who participate in crypto in the world, African countries are there with little or no support. I'm speaking top 10.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine if we have this support, we can easily climb to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely.
On that chart. You know, and the fundamental question is this: why do we always have to go buy the product when we can create the product?
I love that question. Why buy when we can create? Wow. I don't know what's your reaction to this, Turek. I would want to hear your reaction to this.
I would really appreciate if you can repeat what he said, because I think his mic is a little bit lower. I'm not sure if Alexia has the same problem. I can barely hear his comments.
Oh.
So I do apologize about that. But I can hear Alexia very clear. So there is a little bit of unbalance in the volume. Okay. So if you can just please repeat the last question.
Okay, I think the question is to your government. I think, what do you see? Can you hear me better now? Is it better? I think the team is working on it. Can you confirm?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's better.
Excellent. So the question is purely about why is there hesitancy? Why are we seeing a hesitancy with governments? Why is it, you're given the situation in Egypt and they are still playing cautious? I don't even think there's very good conversations from what you have said. Why is there hesitancy where we can see practically this is working, it has been proven, it is happening? In the house here, we have Patricia representing, they're already doing trading and enabling people to trade with crypto. Why is there hesitancy from where you sit? And what would be your advice as well?
I guess it's not a matter of hesitancy. It's a matter, it's inevitable. The question is when and how and what kind of controls need to be in place to guarantee the, as a regulator, we need to balance between the rights of the consumers of the service and how we will be able to, how this can be protected. Some of the challenges for these kinds of schemes in general and models is the challenge of the protection of the consumers' benefits, especially given the both the fluctuation and the distributed nature of the different sources or the different participants. These are some of the key concerns that in general governments would be looking at. Not all consumers are their awareness of their rights and their obligations when they get into these kinds of financial models and exchanges, understand what their rights are. There is a little bit of maturity level that needs to be achieved in order to for this to be the right time for it to happen. So it's inevitable. It's not just, it's not hesitance. It's not like we don't expect it to happen. It will happen. I hope you get this right. Maybe I misrepresented it earlier, but the question is the beneficiaries of this system at the end of the day, are they their awareness is going to allow them to de-risk or dodge the risks acquainted with this kind of vehicles.
Thank you so much for that clarification, and thank you for that. I want to get to the audience questions because their session, which is an amazing one, by the way, and for your information, this is sponsored courtesy of Patricia, whose founder is right here next to me. Thank you so much for making this possible.
It's a pleasure.
So I don't know what questions you may have. I can see there's one question there. Do we have any other person with a question? I see somebody who's like not sure. Yeah, you can put it up. I can see another hand there. Sorry, it's because of the lights. They're hitting us right here. So I would want to see, you have to put it up like as high so that at least they can see the question. So I have one, and there's another one there at the back. Is there any on this side? Excellent. Okay. So I'll take those two questions so that at least we can get to interact on this subject.